Welcome back, everybody, to College COD. We're in with week number 4, and we're setting up match number 2. But Jesse, before we dive really deep between Queens Esports and Farmingdale State College, let's talk a little bit back on that match 1 that we just had, because what a banger series between our first two matches. I think, I was a believer that James Madison could beat Mars Hill for a moment. They almost did it. So close in the search and destroy. They beat them on the control. If they win that search and destroy, I can only imagine what it was like.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you said, that search and destroy came down to 1 round. Unfortunately, if they didn't, throw the first 4 or 5 inside of that map number 2, maybe they could have closed it out a little bit sooner. But yeah, it came down to that round 11. Unfortunately, you end up losing it out there. And then map 1 and map 4, I mean, both of those maps, they go to a 3rd set of rotations in hardpoint and just unfortunately end up losing it out there. But yeah, very good showing from James Madison University. I expect to see them flying up the top 10 ranking, or up the top 25 ranking, maybe into that top 10 now for these two teams. But like you said, we got a match number 2 on the board now. Queens University going up against Farmingdale State College, and I think it's gonna be a really fun one too. Both these teams looking really good coming into this one.
Yeah, Farmingdale State, looking for a little bit of a bounce back after they get a speedy L handed to them by Fisher Falcons last week, and Queens, fighting for middle pack, but with 2 weeks left to win versus Farmingdale State, this could be exactly what they need to kind of boost their stocks in this division and reset their whole mentality for the start of the year. Hasn't been, what they hoped for. Let's take a look at this Queens Esports roster and let's talk about them, Jesse, because out from Canada, our country, you and I, we got Jen, Sue, conceited, narcissist. Can't wait to see this team play.
Yeah, and really close to where I am is this Queens University roster. And, I mean, yeah, they're a really good team, right? And the thing is they have had some really good wins, and they've had some losses that they kind of didn't expect to be lost. They lost last week to Brock. It was a 3-0 loss for this Queens University roster, and it was not something that they were expecting to happen at all. I was talking to Sue earlier on today, and they were saying that they were not expecting to lose that match, let alone get 3-0'd in that match. So this team looking for a bounce back, like you said. It was a little bit of a rough showing for themselves here, but they definitely still have an opportunity, and they're still one of the best schools in Canada. Yeah,
one of the best schools in Canada. I think they, in the Canadian ladder for Call of Duty, they're ranked 4th. So that's just under Ontario Tech, who is just under Brock, who's just under St. Clair. I'd say just under, but I'm sure St. Clair.
I was 1 to St. 2. Clair, a little bit of a couple steps ahead, right?
It's probably a larger gap than I'm making it sound. But here's our Queens roster. Let's start talking about our Farmingdale State College roster, because a bounce back is, I'd say, a kind way to say for Farmingdale State from last week. Fisher Falcons top in their division. Farmingdale State, they thought, going head to head as an, a 5-0 record team, maybe they have what it takes to take down Fisher Falcons. Boy, were they wrong, Jesse. So Farmingdale State going into today against Queens, I imagine this is their revenge tour.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, they did play one more match after that match last week that they did get, like you said, ran through, and they took their aggression back out on Utica right afterwards. They 250-50 Utica, a 6-0 and a 3-0 in the series against Utica right after. So they, I think they've gotten some more of their aggression back out here, Colin, and now Farmingdale has an opportunity, to go up against another team that's a few notches underneath them in terms of the leaderboard, where they're sitting at 5-1, and you've got the likes of Queens sitting at 3-3. And speaking of which, we can take a look at our head-to-head between these two, because I mean, they've looked fantastic here today, and you can see exactly what I just said. 3-2 for the side of Queens, 5-1 for the side of Farmingdale State Esports, and I mean, very similar map and mode records outside of really the control.
Yeah, if there's one thing I really want to say about this head-to-head, I don't really think stats can do it justice, because Queens Esports, even though, they haven't really been a team that can make upsets in the top half of this division, or, probably a lot of people are looking at it that way. It doesn't mean they can't make changes. With 5 matches left in the second half of this season, this could be a big turnaround right now versus Farmingdale State College. So I don't want Farmingdale to go into this and be complacent. Don't get comfortable. Your second place finish in this division is not solidified. And Queens Esports, I'm sure they're hungry for a win.
Yeah, absolutely, right? And like you said, just because you're 5-1 and Queens is 3-2 doesn't mean this is going to be a cakewalk by any means. Queens Esports definitely has an opportunity to come out here and really put on a show for us here today to come up against this team. The big thing that we're going to have to see from Queens, though, is how do they respond to the constant pressure that you're going to be facing from Tez and Pubstar. They played very, very well last week, even in the losses to Fisher. I think those are going to be two players that we really need to keep our eyes out from this Farmingdale State roster.
And you saw that, the Search and Destroy looks like it's going to be a fun time. Queens 4-1, Farmingdale State 5-1. So when we take a look at the maps and modes, I can't wait to see where we're going for the map 2 and possibly map 5 in the series. There's our bands at the top, and we're starting off on Fortress yet again, Jesse. Hotel map 2, hotel map 3, so a little bit of a back-to-back for that hotel search and control. We get that embassy if it's going to the map 4. We get the LSELO for a map 5.
Yeah, and both these teams, like we saw during the head-to-head, both have a really good record so far here on Hardpoint. And then when you really look at this one between these two, looking at at least map number 1, you've got Farmingdale, who's 3-1 on Fortress Hardpoint. You've got Queens University, who's 1-0 on Fortress Hardpoint. Really, really good for both these two teams. Then you go and you look at the hotel, and you've got a good amount of experience from both of these rosters in Search and Destroy and Control. It's both of their two most played maps in terms of what they've played for Search and Destroy and for Control so far. So map 2 and 3 is going to be a slugfest, I think.
Oh, yeah. And if it goes to a map 5, I know these two teams are comfortable in their search and destroy, so this very well could go the distance between them with how, with how this map set has been laid out in front of us, Jesse. But, for Farmingdale State, when we were kind of looking at the roster, you talked about Tez and how strong he looked against Queens Esports. I think if there's one thing you really need for Farmingdale State to bounce back into this week, a little bit of a change was that teamwork. Last week, they didn't really look put together in the hard points, and it's really what allowed, Fisher to kind of run away with that Fortress hard point right away. This is their chance to show us, what changes they made to Fortress, and how they're able to improve on this map.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing that they need to do is they need to make sure that they just don't get, pinned back in that spot draft, because we saw it last week as well, and it didn't work out well for them. But I don't think they're going up, no offense to the Queens players, but against the same level of players on the likes of Queens that you saw at Fisher. Because Fisher, let's be honest, one of our top 5 teams, a team that we expect to be in playoffs. Queens, a team that is kind of a dark horse right now. We've seen some good, we've seen some bad from Queens. But another team that, they could make a deep run inside of the CCL playoffs. You just never know with a team like them right now. And this is really where a team like Queens is looking to just make their first major footprint here inside of the 2023 College COD season. We'll see what they can do, but you can see we're loading up into map number 1. It's going to be a Fortress map 1 hard point. And honestly, Colin, I mean, if you're looking at this, who you got taking map number 1 here? You got to pick?
I mean, Farmingdale State, they're 3-1 on this map. Queens 1-0. They haven't dropped it yet. It's not going to be an easy win, but I think this is going to be Farmingdale. You saw Tez last week against Fisher Falcons went 24-19 on this map.
Crazy on this map, yeah.
So I think you look at that, him to kind of lead the way for this, and I think for Queens starting on the bad side, there's already good looks that they're playing for that P2. Narcissus going to get into the Fortress, and that's 3 unanswered kills.
That's a fantastic start, a fantastic break off here from Queens Esports here as everybody flies into P1. Good nades over the top as well to finish off Spades there. And you know what? They don't get into the time yet, but they have flipped the map like you said.
We didn't really talk about Queens too much in, this team because a good portion of this team played together last year, if not all these players. I'm a little bit mistaken on my history for this Queens Esports roster, but a lot of experience playing together are these 4 players. And going against Farmingdale State, this is why I said that nothing's really set in stone for the series, because that experience that Queens has can trump the skill that Farmingdale State brings.
It absolutely can. And Queens, they're going to be the first team over towards P2. The first team set up and really holding this down right now, but unfortunately 2 of their players will end up falling and actually going to spawn out towards middle of the map as well. A great job here from the FSC players to push their way through the front, force the spawn out towards middle of the map. The back spawn should come into the favor of Queens at some point here, but it actually looks like they're going to try to make this hit through middle again.
Oh, Narcissus makes the play, finds 2 kills inside of that backside of the hard point, and he's going to be able to break all alone. 3 kills for Narcissus, and that's going to gain a lot of time here inside of that P2. Gallows hard point fight over for the rotation for P3. It's a 2 versus 1. Tez has the information of the player pushing throughout P5, but Sue gets the better of the gunfight, and that's going to really set Queens Esports in for a really good rotation.
Yeah, it's not locked down yet. Spades is still in a spot where they can play spoiler here, and they will find one at the very least. And Sue falls as well as Tez coming off respawn, able to find that player. So actually the early time will go to FSC from the frontier. Now everybody from the side of Queens Esports is going to be looking to file in through these small choke points.
Spades sitting in the front line, going to get eyes onto one. Shots with a 9K, goes in to finish the job. Tez is going to get the kill with a nade. Tez and Spades just holding things down here in P3. Looking for a full 60. You know, we've seen it plenty of times inside of Fortress Hardpoint. And you look how far away Queens Esports are spawning. This is not going to be an easy hill to break whatsoever. Tez posted up 6 in a row. That's a cruise missile for FSC. And Queens Esports, you need to look at the rotations because Tez is not allowing you in this hill.
Man. We were talking about this coming into this one. You need to counteract Tez. You can't let Tez just run through you. And they were doing a great job early, but now on an 8 spree, Tez 12 and 6 from 4 and 6 and 12 and 6 in a matter of no time here, Colin.
Yeah.
Look at that scoreboard. It is completely flipped. A full 60 for FSC in that hill number 3. And already on the rotations here over towards New. But Narcissist on a good little flank here. Able to find one. Can they find the second up top as well? All of them and Pumps are really going toe-to-toe here, but it looks like this is just going to get carried out. And finally, Narcissist will go down.
As Carbonized through art to make the play, shut it down for Queens in the rotation. That's an early break. That's not what you like to see if you're Queens fans. Sue's the closest player on 3 in a row. He's just still on the outside looking in for these gunfights. Carbonized going to get an angle into the cannon, but very bold challenge. Sue's able to shut him down. Now conceded, going to be the frontline attacker for the side of Queens, trying to punish the rest of these FSC players on rotation. On the inside is being locked down by the subs until Carbonized breaks in. Narcissist looking for scrap time, and it looks like they might just get it. Oh, they just got to take down Spades. And they do take down Spades, but unlucky for Queens as the respawners for FSC right outside this hill.
The problem right now for Queens through these initial hills, Colin, is when they have control of the hills, it's very scrappy. They're not holding on to a good chunk of the time because it's just being either contested or you're having both teams not really being on the hill while the spawns are all in the favor of Queens Esports right now. But when you look at the side of FSC, they've had 2 really solid hills so far here in P1 and into that P4 hill that have really kind of solidified a good, decent chunk of time, and that's why you're seeing them with double the score through these first 4 hills.
And Tez, again, making a huge play to break P5. Going to be interrupted for a moment by Jen, and that's 3 down for FSC, so Carbonized going to go on a little bit of a hunt to lock down the rotation for next. He spawned in the back for Tez and co. Over towards P3. It's going to make it a little bit hard now for FSC to break out. Don't want to get caught in the spawn trap whatsoever. Looks like they're going to take one last swing at this P5 hill, and Tez going to read Jen like a book. Break in for these 10 seconds. Hold on to this lead. We're heading into the second set of rotations, 137 to 83.
Yeah, really an answer that you needed there from Queens was to be able to get inside of that point and get a little bit of time here, but still, again, because it was contested so heavily and FSC was able to grab the back portion of that, they basically carry the same amount of lead that they had going into that hill out of that hill as well. And now Tez going to choose to invest the glide here, able to at least find one in the front line, and now early time on P1 going back the way of FSC once again.
Tez not allowing conceded out of arc. Pubstar is going to be watching over the shoulder of Carbonized. Nice little double kill there. Time continuing to gain for FSC. They flip the spawns out, and this is what you didn't want to see for FSC, but it looks like we're seeing Queens non-stop, stuck in this spawn trap. Back P3, Tez watching like a hawk through open. Not the player you want to challenge here if you're Jen, but he is looking to get a lot of damage down. Tez on 70 HP, somehow going to escape, but now here comes Queens knocking for the rotation. They broke P1, but can you break through Tez? He's hearing everything all at once, and he's on 5 in a row again. If he gets this cruise missile, that's 2 cruise missiles in this map.
Oh, he stopped shooting. His teammate will finish that player off, just keeps on snaking through the stage. Will finally find the last kill there to get the cruise missile once again. And Farmingdale State College starting to run away with this one. This was the best hill for Queens Esports in the first set of rotations, and Farmingdale was completely locking them out of it. 208
to 92. Now working for the 100-point club, Jesse. Got Gonna allow Queens Esports 8 points if that's what they're looking to gain. On P3, I mean, this is where majority of the time from FSC at the start was picked up. They're going to early rotate over here. They're looking to put this away on this P3 hill. Look how far away Queens Esports are spawning. Yep,
they'll have 60 seconds to get the last 40 that they need to hit that 250-point win condition here for FSC Esports. They'll need a break from the front here if you're Queens, but it's very hard to break from the front when Tez is knocking you low through middle of the map. Gets a 3-piece on the rotation. Make it 4. Can't find the 5th behind the hay, but still just a great setup, and now FSC with a really good opportunity, and Tez spawns up on them. This is going to be a tough break.
It is Gen, though, going to strike first. The opening, they're flooding through the gates. Conceded tries to work up maps, but it's all up to Narcissus now to break. Spades, a little bit of ring around the Rosie. The break through the hill, but only 13 seconds left. Conceded going to get an early spawn up here, but can you win it out? No, it's Gen. Shuts them down and even finds a second one. Narcissus, the next one to knock 1 HP. Nade up front, but Pubstar can't get through. And FSC, they live to tell another tale. 10 seconds to win here if you're FSC, and that is Gen pushing it to a P4.
Oh, but look how far away Queens Esports are spawning from this next hill. And again, you've got an AR set up with an iron sight looking down middle of the map, shutting you down. All 4 down for the likes of Queens Esports. And I don't know if anybody's even going to get across the map to touch in time to close this one out.
4 seconds left. Taz 35 and 17, putting the farm in Farmingdale. What a map 1 from FSC. 250 to 117. Might not be a 100-point club, Jesse, but what a performance from them. Not once in the series did they look like they weren't in the driver's seat, and it's all because of this guy.
Yeah, Tez is unreal. This guy is actually unreal with the AR in hand. A fantastic talent. We said it coming into this one that Tez was going to be the player that really needed to get shut down if you were going to win this match, if you're Queens Esports, and that is not a good start in terms of trying to shut down Tez. Double positive, drops 36 on your head to start map number 1, and I mean, FSC just look really, really solid on that map. I mean, I will give it to Queens, a really good break in that second set. Just unfortunate, it's just too late, man. They could not find breaks, and when they did find those breaks and get a little bit of time in the hill, it was just such small marginal bounce of time that they were able to grab versus the full 60s that you were getting on the side of FSC when they got their setups. That at the end of it at all, it just wasn't even close.
As we watch the Tez highlight reel that we're about to get in this, highlights from the match, we get to see FSC really showcasing how comfortable this win really was. I don't think there was really a worry from them. Their rotations looked very fluid. They were flowing through the map together, breaking as a full 4. Not one player really trying to do everything all at once. It was a well-oiled machine that we got out of Farmingdale State today on this Fortress Hardpoint. Something that we did not get, Jesse, last week versus Fisher. You definitely see that there were changes made.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it really comes down to allowing Tez to just be that player to go out and make plays, right? And really just working around Tez, trying to be the player to lock down those spawns. And even when Tez wasn't locking down the spawns like you're seeing right here through middle of the map, they were still very, very impactful kills that they were able to find. Almost 5 in a row just through middle of the map itself there. I did love that push from Queens Esports at the very end where they just funneled all 4 players to the front, really just kind of threw it all at them. One final Hail Mary, and it almost worked. They broke the hill for a little bit of time, just a little too late for themselves, and we'll see the final ticks again come through here as Farmingdale State College walk away with map number 1. And yeah, I mean, I don't know really what else to say, Colin. Just a really good map number 1. We can take a look at the stats here. You had Tez, like we said, 36 kills, 17 deaths, so really good map 1. Spades as well, 24 and 20. I mean, Pubstar didn't even really have to do much when you got Tez dropping 36 with 30 non-traded kills. What is the other AR meant to do?
Yeah, CDL Pubstar 18 and 23, 15 seconds in the hill. He had his feet kicked up on his desk and he was chilling. I think he really showed why his name is CDL Pubstar. He did a little 360 with attack at the end there. I mean, unbelievable from FSC, like you said. 250 to 117. They looked good in map number 1, and that's going to bring us into our second map of the day, or of the match. Search and Shrine Hotel. And when you look at the records for both of these teams, they were pretty even when it came down to Search and Destroy. I think this is what I was looking at to really be the closest between this best of 5 were the maps 2 and the maps 5. It's just for Queens University, Can you beat them on the Search and Destroy? And if you can beat them on the Search and Destroy, can you push this to that LSC low map 5?
Yeah, that's going to be the tough part, right? Is pushing it to that map 5. Like you said, though, step 1, they'll have to win out on this Search and Destroy on Hotel. You were saying that the series was close between these two, that both of them have very similar records. That's absolutely correct. Both are 2-1 on this map mode combinations, 2 wins to 1 loss. So they've both found a good amount of success. Both have found a loss. FSC's loss was to Fisher last week. So, I mean, we all saw how that one went. And you know what? I think actually, if I remember correctly, Colin, we were casting that match, and I think that was honestly the map that FSC played closest to Fisher as well, was that Search and Destroy. So this is a map where we know that FSC have a lot of good success on. So I do think that, yes, Queens can come out and win this map, absolutely, especially if they took a look back maybe at last week's VOD, seeing what FSC were doing. You just answer back with some hard counters to what you saw FSC doing against Fisher. That's probably your best chance of being able to come away with the victory here. But FSC, this is a map they feel comfortable on.
And, you know, it's ringing in the back of my head, Jesse. I'm just remembering you talking about that top bedroom control from FSC. That was the biggest difference last week from FSC pulling that Search and Destroy back, making it look close in that Hotel Search and Destroy. So if FSC really look back, they make the changes that you were talking about, Jesse, and they get that top bedroom control right away on defense, that's going to make it even harder for Queens Esports and vice versa. You know, for Queens, I'm thinking that they should definitely have looked back at that Fisher Falcons match versus FSC to see exactly what they need to do to get the better of Farmingdale State. But hey, you know what? Sometimes the best times to learn are from the toughest losses, and going up against Fisher Falcons, that's some good VOD to go over.
Oh, I'm sure it is. FSC, I'm sure, took a look back at that VOD, like you said, through middle, and you can actually see right off the rip here, look at this. Player number 8 sitting up in top bedroom. Tez has a fantastic spot with that AR to shut things down. You've got Carbonized as well with the AR in hands. Oh, I think they were trying to get into a little jump spot there, but not able to find it. And Narcissus will open up with 2 through middle of the map in the couches area. And now you've got a good opportunity if you're Queens to get this bomb down over at A with no pressure from FSC on the site.
They just have no information on the 2 players who have wrapped through middle. So Tess is going to have eyes on the cross. Sniper in hand too. So might be a little sliver of a gap, but it's enough for Tez to find this kill. And you know, it's the same thing. FSC have no information to A. So player number 5 is going to be pulled back over towards that B site, and it's all up to Tez, really, to spoil the fun at this as he's just worming over towards Statue. I don't know what that was, but as soon as Narcissus turns around the corner, he's now looking for the ace.
Yeah, that's a big kill. It gives them enough of an opportunity now to get this bomb down over at A, and now they get the information too. Spades, oh, he baits the kill cam, runs to couches, hits the dead silence, instantly wraps back now towards the top of parking, and now has an opportunity to try to make a play here, but it's not going to be easy. He needs to check all these little corners out, and now needs to try to find a way to get onto A. That nade's going to completely give away the position, though.
I mean, you see the setup that Queens Esports had as soon as that bomb went down, and I don't think there was any way that Conceit was giving this one up. I don't think I've heard baiting the kill cam, Jesse, in ages when it comes to Search, especially in MW2, but I think for Farmingdale State, it just shows, you know, Spades, he is an experienced player, and he's been around the block a little bit.
Yeah, just a few times, right? And definitely what they were trying to do there. I'm not sure if it even fully ends up working there, because you do sometimes get that death cam, right, where you're sitting on your dead body and you can kind of see where the player goes afterwards anyways, especially in MW2. But yeah, you know what? Try you will. But onto the A side immediately, the offense here for FSC. You can see Spades getting onto the steps, laying down, get into a really annoying position. But first blood again, Colin, goes to Queens Esports right off the rip.
Bomb down, and Spades and Carbonite going to work their way top bedroom. Spades instead, he's going to drop down bottom, and Queens, they know this. They're on the hunt. What they don't know is Tess makes the full wrap through B, equalizes with the trade onto Narcissus, 3 versus 3 with the bomb down, 27 seconds. You're in crunch time right now if you're Queens Esports, so soon enough, you're going to need a play to pull yourself back, but all 3 players of Farmingdale State in your spawn, Spades, still underneath the reception, and you haven't even gotten Tez, so what are you going to do at this point if you're Jen? You need to get all 3 kills, and you have no idea where to look.
I'm not liking that first defensive setup from Queens. I will not lie to you, Colin. There was no map control. None. You just allowed Farmingdale State to bully their way onto the site. not only do they bully their way onto the site, but they get bombed down they lose a life, get bombed down for free, and you don't pick any of the players off after. You've got man advantage. You need to start playing a little bit more confidently here, I think, if you're Queens. They're trying not to make mistakes, and in doing so, they're making small mistakes and giving up way too much map control to FSC. I even thought that in the first round on their offense, when they had a 3-player clear onto A, and they didn't put the bomb down immediately. I think they need to play with a little bit more aggression here.
Here's the aggression you asked for. Narcissist top patio already. Jen's going to open up with another first blood. That's back-to-back. That bomb should go down soon. Sue is really going to solidify this round in favor of Queens with a kill over to Spades towards Shops. You're looking at Tez to make the play to pull this one back if you're FSC. If he can get this kill onto Narcissist, that's going to be your avenue back in, but will he read this corner side by side? Tez has no idea. 1 versus 3. Pubstar. I think he's got a sniper. This doesn't help.
Oh, good nade, though. Will Fine conceded on the bomb there. Nice Ryan switchy free cam again. We got the nade kill last week. You get another nade kill this week there. But unfortunately, the nade kill not going to be enough with the last 3 players here still alive, and Pubstar will fall through middle of the map. It's another Queens University offensive victory there. And, you know, Colin, they get the job done again, but I'm right there with you. I think that still took way too long to get that bomb down, even with the round victory.
You know, I just can't believe he laid there for that long. He sat there. He accepted
just absorbed
that.
The nade. He said,
like,
this is my nade.
I'm not getting away from this. I am accepting that this is my life now.
It's like Captain America
Except he doesn't have a vibranium shield.
Well, I was going to say, when he jumped on the nade the first time before he even got the superpowers, but, you know.
Oh, yeah. What a fun time. Narcissist, hello, welcome to the rounds. A lot more aggressive through this defensive hold. Conceded's going to drop right onto the head of Carbonized. Tez, 1 versus 3. I mean, if you want anybody in that situation, it's going to be Tez, but Queens Esports just with pure ferocity in that round. Completely in the face of Farmingdale State, not letting them get comfortable at all.
It took some map control, Colin. It's amazing what happens when you move up on the map and you don't just allow the other team to run straight at you. They actually push up, get into some powerful positions, and they shut the FSC players down as they try to cross onto the bomb site. It's fantastic. It's a 3-1 victory here for the likes of Queens, and they're up now big inside of this search and destroy. FSC going to need to start to make some adjustments themselves here because they are in a little bit of a risky spot of falling behind here. I would maybe even put the sniper away, get a little bit more aggressive if I'm FSC in this situation, because I mean, Queens, even through a few mistakes and a few very slow rounds, have taken control of this map completely.
Oh, and you can see it right away to info desk. Carbonized, I think he read the trail of that. I mean, that stun. I mean, there's not too many places where that could have came from. So nice opening up there from Conceded. Pupstar's going to be spotted. Scudo. I'm not sure why it took him so long to react to that cross. Pupstar just completely cutting the distance from B to the spawn of Queens Esports, and now he's hunting for a little bit more. Jen's going to be tucked away towards Spa. Narcissist gets the trade back, and Jen completely null and voids the flank.
They actually get 3 there, so it's just Spades left now. We'll see the cross. We'll throw the nade as well. Oh, but not going to find the kill with the nade. I believe the trophy actually eats that nade that gets tossed down late, and now Spades needs to make a play through middle of the map.
And they know he's here too, so definitely open up for the flank. Spades pops the dead silence, 35 seconds. Plenty of time to make the play. Both players shoulder to D2. I don't think they know that the flank is going to be coming. Here comes Spades, and yeah, the read is there. Both players just one on the floor, one over at D2, and they wait. Perfect play from Queens Esports. Night and day from the hard point, Jesse.
That's a round that you need to win if you're Farmingdale State as well, Colin. I mean, 4-2 lead in the round? And you lose 3 lives in a row like it was nothing. Through middle of the map, you get 2-pieced. And then on the other side of things, I believe it was Spades who got, it was Spades on the other side who ends up getting dropped on the back with the sub. And Queens all of a sudden has a 2v1, able to close things out. Makes things a lot easier in that spot. And now FSC, it looks like we're going to get a little bit of a change of pace here. They're going to decide, hey, you know what, A is not working. Let's just go with a full force push over towards B. And Tez actually has dead silence. Will pop it and make a very quick push over here. But with no pressure over at A, Sue already starts to make the rotation over to B.
Saves the nade too, just plays his life. 3 players stacked towards bedroom, and that should be an easy rotation, a quick one from Queens to get into this battle as quick as possible. All 4 players almost shoulder to shoulder inside of kitchen. Spade's going to take a little bit of heat there, but this is going to be a bloodbath inside the kitchen. Just waiting for the opening from Queens. Who's going to make the first play? Because he opens the door. Tez is watching for a strike from FSC. Narcissist in. Carbonize takes him down. And it's just all white in the kill feed. FSC, flawless round.
And this is why you can't just give a full force push over towards one site. Because if you leave this B side open, it is so easy to just stack all 4 players inside of it and just not give any players up inside of the round. And you can see there, everybody just snaking on the head glitches through the middle of kitchen, and then also sitting just random corners. It's very tough to push in through just 2 or 3 small choke points that enter in towards that point of attack. And yeah, the B zone goes B bomb goes very, very quickly there. And Queens Esports, again, on their offense though, they feel very confident hitting this A site, and once again, that's where they go. Narcissist immediately gets through again.
Wow, I'm not sure Tez saw this. Player upon a bedroom should have had eyes on, but even still, he's not reacting at all. Narcissus gets in for free. Carbonize could be the first blood. Tez with the sniper, not hitting the player on that Godheady. Narcissus still looking to make plays, but a little bit too far forward, and Pubstar gets the trade. Bomb knocked down at A, still a chance to wrap to B.
Unfortunately, the player you've got wrapping right now, though, does not have the bomb, so if you're Queens, you're looking for Stu to clear things out middle of the map and then start to get the rest of the players out over here. But a gunfight going down towards the side of top cat, this might actually open up an opportunity now for the rest of the Queens players now to wrap this bomb back over towards A. They may have baited the B push.
Yeah, Spades gives up his lethal too, and here's the wrap now over to B. But for Queens Esports, where, you know, at first it may have been in your favor, now you've allowed Tez to wrap. He has a sniper and misses the first shot, though. Pubstar cleans it up. 2 versus 3, and not a lot of time to work with. Sue's gonna have to try to bring this back, but now it's all into the shoulders of Jen. 1 versus 3, now to a 1 versus 1. 11 seconds left, Jesse. There's no time. Spades rushing over to B. If he's not careful, he might be throwing his life away. No time to plant. Spades just has to check this eventually. Yeah, and he's not gonna be found out.
Yeah, no time there. If you are the player on Queens, I think you just need to fly out in that situation. You definitely didn't have enough time to get the bomb down. Maybe just look and hope to find that last kill. But I mean, it would have been a hope and a prayer to find that player sitting in one of many spots that they could have been in that situation. Unfortunate, but not enough time at the end of the day. And that's another round there for FSC, where they walk away with Queens' little bit indecisiveness through the middle of that round. They didn't really know if they wanted to go towards B, go towards A, and then once they finally decided, hey, you know what, let's make the wrap towards B, just not enough time. And unfortunately, you also got dropped a few players through middle. This time on offense, though, we'll get FSC pushing up very quickly again towards this A site, and you'll lose out on one of your 3 players. But you know what? It opens up enough where you might be able to move up and get this bomb down over at A if you can clear these players bottom bed.
A lot invested, though, to take down Spades. The nades aren't going to be there for the post plant or Farmingdale State. Carbonize struggling to cross over to the bomb site. You have 2 players bottom bedroom watching, and Sue just Hail Marys towards the bomb. Carbonize stretches this for the plant. Tez finds the player through the middle. 2 versus 2 for the post plant. Tez just running it right on down. 1v1. Tez reaches bottom bedroom. Head silence pops, so he has no idea what is going on. They're going to swap sides. And Tez is making the full wrap. This is a bold play, but it is the right play to make. Over towards couches. Jen has no idea. Tez going to be spotted. Enough to just dissuade Jen's mind. 24 seconds now. And Jen, he needs to make the play. Tez has all control of this round. He just needs to wait it out. Not going to have eyes on the bomb. Tez is going to make the play now. Spots him on the toes. First shot's there for Tez. He cleans it up. And FSC, they're right back in it.
Yeah, Tez plays that so well. I mean, they make a little bit of a risky wrap off the initial portion of that, but as soon as they see that that Jen isn't on the bomb, they immediately back up into couches. They make it so that they're like, hey, if Jen's going to chow this, Jen has to come and get me. And then as soon as the 10-15 seconds goes by, you see them on desk again on info, and he does not chow you, keep sitting in that spot, and then you know that internal clock is ticking as a search and destroy player, and you know, hey, guess what? He's got to eventually start to defuse that bomb. Tez guesses at the perfect time, goes, stops the player from getting the bomb down, and also wins the gunfight out at the end of things. And now we're all tied up 4-4. Queens Esports starting to throw this one away a little bit here, but Narcissus with a fantastic start to this round, kills 2 players, bottom bed.
11-6 from Narcissist. Regens back to 100. Tez has to be a little bit careful, but 10-5 for himself. I mean, if there's anybody that's going to go up against Narcissist right now, it's going to be him. Pops right through the door, and there's the trade. 3 versus 2, bomb down. Jen, Godheady, conceded, has crossed. Spade's going to get spotted out. Jen, it's soon enough. You imagine he's going to feed the information to conceded that both of them are there. You look at player number 1, Sue. He's watching all the way from side door to wine, and conceded strikes onto Spade. So that's going to leave all alone Tez. 1 versus 3. No time to make this play, Jesse.
Yeah, no time at all. 15 seconds left only. At this point, you might want to just try to get a kill or 2 here inside of this round. Definitely don't want to feed streaks to anybody, but it doesn't look like anybody really on the side of Queens anywhere near those streaks here either. Tez just really bouncing, flirting with death right now. Will finally end up falling at the end of the round, and Queens Esports needed that round very much so after a few losses in a row. And we'll get a 5-4 lead here for Queens, and in Farmingdale State College now going to need to ice up here through rounds 10 and 11.
I mean, can we just acknowledge how hard of a kill Tez really is, Jesse? I mean, the fact that he was able to stay alive that long,
I wouldn't want to run
insane.
up against him, that's for sure.
No, neither would I. Neither would I. And you know what? My luck in ranked play, I probably would meet up with him. And
even if we get the win, we're only getting 30 SR either way. That's just how it is. Shouts to Cade. He knows the struggle that I know. I mean, you get a lot more than I do, but it is what it is.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Now back over towards the A site. FSC going to try to get this bomb down again. But again, stuns and nades galore coming out here from Queens Esports. We've seen this in the last round, but this time they actually have a player bottom luggage. And Sue will find the kill, the first blood of the round. And that bomb's down in a really bad spot, and you've got Narcissist on the flank.
And Tez goes down, so this might just be a sure thing for Queens Esports. You need Pubstar and Spades to play absolutely large, and that's the moment. Spades gets 2, Pubstar 1. That brings us into a 1 versus 1. Conceded's gonna get spotted out, and Spades keeps it alive. I thought a moment, Jesse, Tez goes down. 4 versus 2. That is the show done and dusted. But Spades, what a play. 3 kills in the round.
I blame myself. You never write in your Google sheet the score before it happens. I started writing it down. I was getting ready to punch the 6 into the little column for the victory for Queens Esports.
You played yourself.
I played myself. Queens Esports with a break down there in round number 10, and we go to a round 11 here. What a round there from Spades to be able to close that out. And now we go to one final round here, and it looks like FSC is going to throw some pressure over towards A, make some noise, but the bomb is middle of the map, and they have an opportunity to wrap this over towards B if they want to. And that's where they found the most success so far on their offenses, is that B bomb site.
Back to bottom luggage, Sue. Found first blood last round, and only 3 kills in this, but I mean, all 3 kills Sue has had have been very impactful through this search and destroy. Jen, though, first blood for Queens yet again. Don't want to go down to a 4-2 and have to fight all the way back 2 rounds in a row, Jesse. Spades was the one to follow, so you're not going to get a hero play from him. Carbonite's going to try to stretch this as best as he can, and Sue's in the exact same spot to foil.
Yeah, I think you got to wrap this here. If you're Farmingdale, you got to wrap this here. Sue does get spotted out, and as soon as that information comes through, you can see Carbonite immediately gets on his horse, now running through, and actually might make a flank play here through the bottom side of luggage. They might be able to catch Sue out.
Sue's not watching this one. Sue has his back turned. Jen's going to go down, and Carbonite's going to open up this map. 2 versus 3, the tables turn. A player to A, a player at B, but both players split. Tez is still in the back line, so Narcissist not going to be able to read that one, and Pubstar makes the finishing play. FSC against the ropes. They RKO Queens Esports on Hotel Search and Destroy and go up 2-0 in the series.
Man. Queens had every opportunity to close that out multiple times in that game through rounds 10 and rounds 11. I mean, yeah, there was a couple lucky rounds they won earlier on in the game where I think they were being a little bit too indecisive. But you know what? They were being a lot more decisive towards the end of that game. Just unfortunately do not win out on the gunfights. You get a massive clutch up from Spades, who was only 5-7, but found 3 inside of round number 10 to clutch up massively for Farmingdale State College. And They pull it off. They pull it off, the victory there. They go up 2-0 against Queens Esports. Now have them in that chokehold, Colin, that you were talking about, and it's gonna be really, really tough for Queens to come back against us now, going into the double respawns against FSC.
That's why you don't stack on top of each other. Bound and bedroom. There, I said it, Jesse. Headshot multiplier goes burr. Ooh, spades, man. When you needed a hero, he put on the cape. Here's a nade. Look at this. And see, he accepted it. Oh, I love it. But, I mean, what a battle throw map number 2. I mean, a big storyline was the aggression from Queens Esports. The submachine guns, they looked on fire in this map number 2. Just constantly paving the way of success for Queens Esports. If it wasn't Narcissist, it was Jen. Both making huge plays to walk out on top for Queens Esports. And I thought, you know, maybe it was going to be enough to finish this out in 6-4 fashion, but like you said, I mean, it's just a little bit of an oversight. It slipped through your fingers. Here's where you got 2 down in a 4v2 in spades. I mean, how do you read the reach out there on a conceded? You play the time there. There's so much time at the end in that round for you to win if you're Queens.
And carbonized the flank through bottom luggage in that final round as well. As soon as they spotted that player out, that adjustment, that immediate adjustment that you get, you pop Deddy, run immediately through couches. You don't even look back, and you push bottom bed, and you push bottom luggage, and you're able to find that player to get the last kill. Massive stuff from Farmingdale State Esports to close that game out. And I mean, Colin, we were treated. That was a really, really fun map to watch. You got a great performance out of Narcissus and Jen, like you said. Tez on the other side doing what he needed to do. And the rest of the FSC players, they stepped up when they needed to most, right? I mean, Spades had a really bad map going, but popped that 3-piece in round 10 just to get them to round 11 to close the game out. And I mean, what a fun map to cast.
Yeah, our pals from Canada, they kind of let it fall through their fingertips, though, man. Heartbreaking has a Canadian, Jesse, on the desk, but you know what? You gotta tip it to FSC to make that happen. A breakdown from Queens Esports, and that's gonna bring us to another reverse sweep for Queens Esports this time that they have to make if they're gonna win it out against FSC. Team looking to go 6-1 in their division. A team looking to continuously hold their spot in second place inside of the northeast side of College COD. Hotel map 3 coming up, Jesse. I mean, if Queens have what it takes, they got to show us in this hotel control. And we'll see you on the other side of this break, everyone. And we are back with more College COD. A quick little break to set things up, get the players situated and comfortable as we head into a map number 3 between FSC and Queens Esports. FSC, Jesse, up 2-0. Not a big surprise from you and I'd say. This is pretty much going the way we expected to, but man, Queens Esports, they delivered in that hotel search and destroy. I thought for a second that they were going to change the script and we were going to go to that embassy hardpoint.
I really thought so for a second there as well, but Farmingdale, they did clutch up at the very end. And Colin, I will say I am worried going into this hotel control. I'm worried for 2 reasons. One, Farmingdale, in 4 of their 5 wins so far, have closed out Series 3-0, so they're no what's the word? They're no stranger. Thank you. They're no stranger to closing series out in a 3-0 fashion. Complete brain fart there from my part, but also looking at the records of these 2 teams in control. You got FSC at 4-2 and Queens Esports only at 2-4 in control. It's not saying they can't get the job done. It's not saying that they're not playing very well right now, because they were inside of that search and destroy. But if the hotel, or if the map number 1 hardpoint and has anything to say about this series, the respawns do seem quite favored towards the side of Farmingdale State. So this needs to be a map that you come away with here if you're Queens Esports.
Step number 1, Jesse. Take down Tez. Step number 2, make sure that he doesn't get back up. I'd say, if you're Queens Esports. Because back on Fortress Hardpoint, he was the end-all be-all for Farmingdale State College. The rest of the team didn't have to do too much. They just had to focus on rotating around the map, holding down those spawns, soaking up the time, and Tez, he did the rest of the work for the team. So heading into this control, you need to shut this player down. Tez on screen already opening up with that first blood. Now in another 1v1 for time, and Tez, a little bit of help from Carbonize. That A zone starting to get worked on.
Yeah, already almost one full tick through, and actually we'll go through very quickly. The 2-stack working very well. Actually, they might be able to get 2 full ticks in here already. And yeah, if you're Queens Esports, this is completely conceded at this point here. You'll get Carbonize and Tez just kind of looking at each other, and Tez comes through with the team knife. He says, hey, you know what? I can do this myself. I don't need you on the A site. They finish it off, and now the wrap over towards B begins. And it needs to be
him.
Tez. I mean, watching Tez play right now is giving me a headache. Oh my god!
Can't stop him. He's killing everything. He's killing the enemy team. He's killing his own team. He's soaking up all the objective as well. Finally going to be shut down by Jen on a head glitch. They have a little bit of bedroom control, so you see FSC spawning all the way towards kitchen. Small little bit of a life advantage, but you're looking at Conceited and his positioning. Couple kills from himself. Narcissist might be able to slip the line. We could see Queens Esports starting to stabilize.
Yeah, and I mean, Conceited in the position that they're in right now, it's going to be really annoying to the FSC players because everybody's going to keep spawning out towards kitchen for now. And they need to find this player in the backline. Otherwise, every time that Jen gets a kill here, it's just going to make your push that much harder and harder over towards the B zone. They do finally find Conceited in bottom bed. So now you can start to make your way over towards B. They get 1, but might not be enough here. Although the push up from Spades and Tez, they find 3 in a row. And this is now where things get really serious for Queens because they can get a 4-stack on the hill if they choose.
Everything getting thrown out the window right now if you're Queens Esports. They had the setup to B, but in an instant it is gone. Pubstar on the cross. Big win there from Conceited, but the second tick being worked on. The segment going to be locked in. Tez on the heady. Make sure nobody's going to cross through spawn. Spades getting all the kills, and it is done. We'll see you next round. FSC Esports, the way that they go to 0 to 100 in about 0.5 seconds is insane.
Yeah, and they pull off the strat really, really well of going towards A first, getting that zone finished off very quickly, and then giving yourself just so much time to work with to push over towards B. They didn't even need all the time, Colin. They had about, what, a minute and a half still to go if they wanted to try to make a couple more pushes over towards B. They don't even need all the time there. A team knife comes through from Tez. It does not matter. Nothing matters in that situation. In FSC Esports, they close it out for themselves, and now Queens, they need to answer back with an offensive round, one of their own. Easier said than done, like we've said, but now already going over towards A. It's a very aggressive push, and they will get a 2-for-3 trade.
Yeah, 2 for 1 on the inside. Conceited and Sue and start soaking up this time at A. See if they can collect as much as they can before FSC start looking back in, but Tez, 9 HP, cut down by Narcissist. Almost finding 2, Conceited or Carbonized now. Looking to make it happen and foil the plans for Queens over towards A. Only 1.5 ticks, so the second one not going to be solidified, and Carbonized going to be living freely in your back spawn.
The danger here, though, is that everybody on Queens pops up, goes over towards B, and they get 2 ticks of progress because they 4-stack the zone immediately here. This flank here from Carbonized needs to go massive. They will at least shut that down, but now everybody's going to spawn back up. It's zone tag from the likes of Queens Esports as they hop back onto A. Another immediate tick over towards there, and honestly, if you're FSC, you might just need to give this up and play for exits.
Everything, everywhere, all at once right now, Jesse. Hotel control, it's crazy between these two teams. 24 and 18. That's for the live count between these two teams. Farmingdale State still have the lead, but only 1 tick over towards being needed. And we saw how fast that went for FSC in their last round. And Spades still inside of Restaurant. Finally going to be shut down by Sue. Making it a little bit interesting. Narcissist on screen. You win this out, and maybe, just maybe, you get a route over towards B, but Pubstar staying alive. That is massive for FSC.
I think this is going to be such a tough round to win now if you're FSC, though. You have a 5-life lead, which is great, but only 1 tick of progress needed over towards B. We've seen 3 ticks of progress go very quickly over at B on just 1 4-man wipe. That's the thing if you're FSC here that you need to avoid. You just cannot give up the wipe in this situation.
Well, 4 goes down for Queens Esports, and that's going to make it harder for Queens now, Jesse, because you got to work all the way from that restaurant side of the map back over towards B, and everybody from Farmingdale State now just sitting in corners and waiting. Carbonized, he's going to strike. Way to go. The rest of them overwhelmed by Jen. Spades top bedroom, just going to sit inside the cubby. You see, Taz is pushed all the way up into luggage. Nobody's going to have a read on this at all if you're Queens. Spades is going to pop that Teddy now on the flank. Cut down by Sue. That's some nice overwatch. Chen still working his way through info. 2 down. Gonna need that player from Luggage. You need Tez to shut this down. And he's gonna find at least one. A second one from Tez. Doing the Lord's work for FSC.
Oh, Tez gets all 3 of 4 players over towards B. Massive kills. I thought Queens got the break they needed, but you smartly call out Tez on the back line, and Tez does exactly what they need to do. It's not over quite yet, but it's feeling like it. Only 2 lives now remaining for Queens. Only 1 player left top bed, and yeah, this round, Narcissus just going to tuck their tail between their leg. They're going to go down, and FSC Esports. It got close, Colin, but they got the job done at the very end.
It got close, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles when you look at Hotel Control, Jesse. You get 4 down on that attacking side. You get pushed all the way back to kitchen. You just see FSC, all they need to do is just hide in corners, wait, just post up, hold irons, catch the rotations of these FSC players. It got a little bit troublesome when you get 3 down, but, I mean, Tez staying alive in Luggage. There's no player you would rather have.
Yeah, absolutely, right? And especially in that situation, if you need a multi-kill and you're this FSC team, you're looking at Tez and you're hoping that Tez does exactly that. And now we've seen the strategy here in the first offense for FSC. They push all 4 players over towards A. They try to find their break. This time, though, Narcissus will pop 2 and at least give a good fight for Queens over towards the A zone right away.
Yeah, Carbonite slips back into chops, though. He's being hunted down, but another tough kill. 12 and 8. Carbonite's having himself a game. Gonna pop that Deddy, looking to be a little bit more of a nuisance through the middle of the map. Gonna get eyes onto Conceded, but doesn't have to take any shots, so they have no idea where Carbonite is, and everybody falls towards B, Jesse. There's a chance for FSC to get the harder zone first.
Really gonna come up to Narcissus's flank here and won't find anything on it. This is going to be tough to now break their way back in. Sue actually finds 2 through the middle of the map. That goes completely massive.
Wow.
They do, at the very least, get the second tick here. And Carbonite's finding another kill will at least keep the B zone alive. The thing that if you're Queens, you need to be really careful of here is putting too many pressure over towards B and allowing an A zone really, really quickly here. But actually, all the players off FSC, they realize how close they're going to get getting B finished. Everybody will rotate back over. They'll get it done. Full focus now flips over towards the A zone.
Been the Tez show up until now. We got Spades 18 and 9, Carbonite's 14 and 10, 12 and 0 for CDL Pubstar. The supporting cast just showing up here on Hotel Control. They checked in and they're not ready to leave, Jesse. They got a nice suite too at the top of the hotel, and they're chilling. 16 to 18 in lives, minute 30 to work this A zone. Narcissus gonna tuck himself through the middle of the map, see if you can cut off the respawning players, and we'll get the better of Pubstar for now, but you need your teammates to go big on the other side of the map, and Carbonite on the flank yet again. Jen, turn around! Not going to be able to read that on Carbonite. Sue able to find the trade, but back and forth, this is too scrappy.
Oh, Narcissist mistimes the flank as well. Not able to get the same flank that we saw coming through in our last series on Hotel Control. And unfortunately, now you've got a 4-stack here from Farmingdale State College on the point. And if you're Queens, you got to go. You got to go now. And I don't think anybody's going to touch the point, getting chopped down like nothing. And Farmingdale State College Esports walk away 3-0 in the control, 3-0 in the series. And yeah, they just notch another 3-0 victory onto their ledger that they've had so far this season, and they've looked really, really good here, Colin.
That's good form from Carbonite at the end too, Jesse, to get it done. Yeah, 3-0 in the series, 3-0 in the map, and Farmingdale State just proving to be a cut above Queens Esports today. Jesse, I mean, you and I, we were talking about the series in the green room ahead of time. We were talking about how this is going to be an incredibly difficult series for Queens Esports to begin with. Farmingdale State College, it was marking how they were going to handle that loss from last week against Fisher. They bounced back with a 1-for-1, I think, last week, so they were able to get a little bit of revenge right away. Whatever work they had between last week and this week, it has paid off because they look like a brand new team. The team play was on point. The maps that they picked favored them. And the slaying across the board, especially in that Hotel Control, it was spread amongst all 4.
Yeah, it was pretty one-sided between, especially in that control for FSC to walk away with there. I think that if you're Queens, you didn't make it any easier on yourself by walking away with the loss inside of that search and destroy around a map that you absolutely could have won when being up 5-4 in that situation. And unfortunately, what was it? It was a 4-2 or a 2v4 in the round number 10 that you end up losing for Queens Esports. And as soon as you lost that round, it really felt like the rest of the game kind of got away from them. After that point, they choked the search, and then the control just was completely one-sided for Farmingdale State, and they walk away with the game victory there. And a very good showing from Farmingdale State, like you said, but also Queens. You know what? Some highlights to take away from that. Your search and destroy definitely looks really good. I think that Respawn could use some touch-ups for sure. But I mean, a few gunfights go a couple different ways in that series. I mean, you never know. You could have found, you definitely could have found your offensive win if Tez doesn't 3-piece you from behind there. I think the story for Queens is just don't get 3-pieced, right? I think that's just what the story comes down to.
Done. Especially when you're going up against Tez, Jesse. I think a big takeaway if you're Queens Esports is that search and destroy. And I would even argue that Queens Esports looked better in the search and destroy than Farmingdale State College. So when you go back, look at that map number 2 for both teams, Queens Esports should have closed that one out. And it should have gone to a map number 4. Farmingdale State College, more experienced team, more put together, and they made it work throughout that. Even going into that map number 3, you saw the confidence for FSC just heavily outweighed Queens Esports after that blunder in the search and destroy. So hard to bounce back from that loss if you're Queens Esports. But now, you get done with this match, your season's not done. I mean, the big highlight for this team to begin with, Jesse, is that you're a middle-of-the-pack team right now. You're just looking to kind of shake up whatever you can throughout this division and try to upset those top teams right now if you are Queens Esports. And you're going to look back at the series against Farmingdale State, and there's going to be a lot of good takeaways for you.
For sure, right? And I mean, there's always things to take away from a series if you're Queens Esports. Got to go back, watch the footage, just kind of learn from your mistakes. It'll help massively the further you go throughout a lot of this. And I would almost bet that they definitely watched some VOD from the last, from when we saw that Fisher Esports game going up against FSC Esports last week. Because, like we said, they looked very well prepared for that search and destroy. Just unfortunately could not close it out there with FSC. But at the end of the day, calling a 3-0 victory. We just saw the finish there for the maps and modes, and it was all 3 games going the way of FSC. Very, very dominant performance from them outside of that search and destroy where they clutched up massively. And Queens Esports, they'll just have to go back to the chalkboard next time. But you know what? You just never know.
Yeah. Chance for revenge later on, maybe. Who knows what's in the books for Queens Esports later down the line. Both teams, though, really good showing in certain situations. Farmingdale State, even they might need to look back at that search and destroy. But that's going to wrap up our match number 2. Farmingdale State College, 3-0. For that, pushes us into that map 3. And before that, a little bit of love to our sponsor, America's Navy. Don't forget to show them some love. The Navy's Goats and Glory Esports team provides a platform for people to engage with sailors and learn more about the opportunities the Navy provides while sharing a mutual passion for gaming. Ultimately, the team shows that sailors are just like everyone else. They have hobbies, interests, and families. Being in the Navy doesn't preclude those things at all. So if the Navy is where you want to go post-secondary, if the Navy's where you want to go at all in your life, don't forget that they allow you to earn a college education at their expense. So go show some love to America's Navy, everybody, our presenting sponsor here at College Squad. And Jesse, it's only going to leave one more match for you and I. We got Rutgers versus Utica coming up next, folks. A quick little break. We'll see you on the other side.